If you want to improve your chess, definitely take a look at this video because I'm gonna explain you how do I think throughout the whole game, how do I take the right decisions, how do I decide where to develop the pieces and what to do after the opening. A very important question. So here I'm playing as black, it's a 10 minutes game, my opponent is incredibly qualified, almost 2500, and I'm gonna play my favorite opening for black, the Philidor defense against e4. It's very solid, and the main thing is I understand the ideas of this opening very good, because remember, never try to memorize the openings, try to understand it. So knight f3 is the main move here. I'm playing knight to d7, I'm defending this pawn, bishop to c4, bishop to e7. Now there is a sacrifice here, and I have made a video about it. Definitely take a look. I'm gonna put the link in the description. Actually, bishop takes f7 is not a big deal. Black could handle it and be better. He plays a4 immediately, but I'm gonna just continue my development for now. Now I have a choice between c6 and a5. The point of move c6, I mean, it's a very important move in this opening in general, but concretely, if he plays a5, for example, I can play knight x e4, knight x e4, and d5. Or I can just play a5, making sure that he's not gonna go anywhere. Let's do that for now. And then normally white is putting the rook on e1, playing h3, and then bishop e3. Yeah, so that's basically the main line. The main theoretical battle, so to say, h3, because you don't want to play bishop e3 immediately because of knight g4. And now there is this fancy line, knight to b6, threatening to take this bishop, so you don't have time to take this pawn. Bishop to a2, that's the right move, because if you go to b3, that might seem a little bit more logical, but actually it's worse, because I'm gonna take and play knight c5 with a tempo. Now I don't have this tempo. Okay, so takes. Now there are basically three possible ways to take this pawn. All of them are playable. Knight x d4 is the main line. Let's see what he does. Knight takes, knight c5. So, well, the advantage for me is that I don't really need to think about those moves. I know that variations, that's the main line. Now queen h5 is the main line, the most dangerous things that white can do. I'm taking here on a4. And I'm never afraid of bishop takes f7 because that's going to be just an exchange, the knight for a bishop. Now what white normally does is knight f3 and knight g5, and then the knight is very active here, so I have to exchange it, and then white gets this compensation, and well, objectively the position is around equal, but black has to know what to do here, otherwise it's simple to just lose because of this attack. It's really pretty dangerous. Let's see if I can handle all of the threats here. But if you don't play knight f3, it's not clear what to do. Like everything else is not really dangerous for black. You just play rook d1. First of all, there is a pawn hanging with a tempo. And secondly, well, it's not that dangerous. Let's see if he knows that, or if he can figure out it during the game that that is the right plan. Yeah, I guess he knows that because, well, who knows? He spent quite a lot of time on that. So here there are a few options. I can play b5, I can play knight c5. I mean, according to the Stockfish, knight c5 is the strongest move here, so let's stick with it. Hard to say. Now I have to take and play queen c7. And then there are a few different ways to create problems for black. You can play rook e3 and then try to make it difficult for the king. You can play queen h4, preparing the sacrifice here. You can play just rook d1, developing your pieces. The idea for black is, of course, to finish the development and to play bishop e6. It would be so great to exchange this beautiful bishop here and also to connect the rooks. Afterwards, f6 would be available to me, so I just need a few tempos here. If I survive it, I'm great, because I'm also a pawn up, remember it. So white has to be active right now, right here, and create some difficulties. But, well, it's clear that he has a very good theoretical knowledge. If he played it relatively fast up to this moment, chances are he knows how to play afterwards. Let's see. Bishop f4 is also tricky because it's threatening to take my knight on c5 with a queen thanks to the spin, so I have to be very careful with that. I don't have the move bishop e6 there. I guess I should play knight d7 and knight e5, trying to block this whole diagonal. But that's actually the most critical line in the whole Philidor opening. If you understand this, if you can play it as black, everything else is not really that dangerous. So let's see if he can use it. I mean, he has two bishops, he has the initiative. But of course, like I said, it's important to use your initiative, otherwise it's going to disappear. I just need basically one tempo and then I'm fine. He has to create the threats right now. Rook e3 is a tricky move here because it creates some threats here, like bishop f6 sacrifice, and then once I take, he plays rook g3 check, king goes to h8, and queen to h6 with double checkmate idea, queen g7 and queen f6. And so after rook e3, if I'm not mistaken, the only way for me to go is king to h8, trying to somehow prepare for this bishop f6 so there is no check. And I have one extra tempo, because bishop e6 might lose after bishop f6. Yeah, he's taken a lot of time here, so maybe it's a good moment for me to say that it's Journey to Grandmaster, the channel that you are watching, the place where you can improve every aspect of your chess game, and I'm trying my best to be as interactive as possible. So if you want to improve your level, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. Meanwhile, I'm trying to not get checkmated here, so rook is 3, bishop e6, let's try to calculate it, bishop f6. If I take there, for example, yeah, I guess it's not gonna work. Just rook g3, for example, threatening rook takes g7 with a checkmate, and if I go g6, queen h6 is a checkmate. Bishop a6, bishop f6, if I take, like I said, rook g3, king goes away, and then queen h6, threatening two checkmates, and there is no way to stop both of them. So seems like king h8 is the move to go. Because now, after bishop f6, hopefully I can take it. And then pray. I don't know, because queen h6 seems to be very, very dangerous there. So let's see. If I defend the pawn, maybe I can do that, because if you take with the queen, I exchange it and take the bishop, and then you take the rook, I take the second bishop. The problem is, if you take with the bishop here, I take on f6, still there is a queen, so you're very dangerous. You can take the rook, then play rook g3 check, and danger is still very, very huge. But maybe I can survive that. So bishop f6 is a huge commitment. Otherwise, if you play something like rook g3, then I have time to just play f6, and then I'm fine, basically. There is no pin. So the point of the move king h8 is not only to get rid of the check, but also to get rid of the spin, to have this opportunity of playing f6. Wow, we have a queen sacrifice here, queen to h6. Obviously, I can't take because king g8, I mean bishop f6, king g8, and rook g3 checkmate. I mean, that is amazing. I have to give him the credit. But what is a threat, actually? Bishop f6, I guess, because that is threatening a checkmate that is pinning me. I can't take it because of the same checkmate pattern. Can I play f6 here? That's my first question. Because now if he takes, I can just take with the queen. And very important thing is my queen is protecting the g7 pawn. And also now I'm really threatening to take the queen. So I really like the move f6. I mean, as amazing as queen h6 is, I guess that's the wrong move, because now after f6 I don't see any follow-up. The bishop is hanging, the queen is hanging. What do you do? That's the problem with those fancy moves. It's a so-called hope chess when you're playing queen h6, sacrificing the queen and just hoping that your opponent is going to take it. But what often happens, if he's not taken this one, then it's suddenly a bad position for you. So be very careful with that. You want to sacrifice pieces only if it is really useful for you. Like, yes, there was a threat bishop f6, but if it's an easy one to deal with, like I did here f6, then suddenly you find yourself in a very bad situation. So remember to calculate the variations before you move that. And I guess f6 wasn't that difficult to predict because, well, it helps me to defend. It seems to be an obvious way for me to deal with this threat because he wants to play bishop f6 and that stops it. Unless I'm missing something, but I don't see. Ah, okay, rook g3. Now he's continuing sacrificing the queen because bishop f6, rook takes f6, rook to g8, checkmate. I mean, he's just hilarious here. But I think it still doesn't work. I mean, my queen is now defending the pawn on g7. That's very, very important for me. So if I play something like bishop e6, just blocking this whole diagonal, all of the problems are still there. I can just take it here. That's the second variation to try. Because the queen is hanging, apparently he wants to take it back with the queen. And then basically I'm a bishop up. This pawn is still protected. But maybe if I just play bishop e6, I'm winning time there, because the queen is still hanging and he still needs to make a move with it. If he takes on f6, I have rook takes, and well, my rook is already helping in the defense, so there are no sacrifices. I really like the move bishop e6. Let me try it. Remember that, as I said, my goal is to finish my development. If I can do that and survive, then I have a healthy extra pawn and everything is great. And hopefully I'm close to surviving. I have developed all of my pieces and he's not given any checkmate, hopefully. It could be that I have missed something, but I mean, I'm protecting everything. That's the most important thing. And now I am also connecting all of my pieces to the defense. It's very important. If you are attacking, it's important to connect as many pieces as possible to help your attack. If you are defending, it's the same thing. You want to bring as many pieces as possible. Here he resigns because he understands there is no way to continue this attack. So that was an amazing game right here with some queen sacrifices. So let me know in the comments what you think about this type of videos. And if you want to really improve your chess, I have a whole playlist with the games which I comment during the game, so you can learn how I think during a real game. Take a look at this game because it's gonna help you to improve your strategical thinking, decision-making process, so you can play your games much better.